In today's video, we'll be creating a WooCommerce Add to Cart Popup using mail opt-in. I'll leave a link to the documentation for this tutorial in the description down below. And just so you know, you'll need to have WooCommerce installed and active. So from our WordPress dashboard, we'll hover over mail opt-in and click on opt-in campaigns. Next, we'll click on add new, and then we'll go ahead and name our opt-in. I'll call mine WooCommerce. Now let's use a slide in theme for our demonstration. I'll click on slide in and I'll select this one in the center. So we'll see a preview of our opt-in in the bottom right hand corner of our screen. And on the left, we have our customization options. For example, we can go to design to make changes to the opt-in's width. We can also set a display effect by choosing an option from this menu. We can change the background color from blue to something else like green, for example. And we can also add custom CSS. If we click on an element on the opt-in itself, we'll see its menu open on the left-hand side. For example, this one is a headline. So we can go ahead and hide the headline by toggling this switch. We can also make changes to the color, font size, and font family. And the same applies to our description. We're able to make similar changes using similar controls. Alright, now let's go ahead and move on to fields by clicking on one of them. So if we take a look at our options, we'll see two toggle switches at the top. The first one lets us use custom HTML to customize our form fields. And the second one lets us display only a call to action button, so there'll be no fields. We'll turn both of these off, and let's take a look at the name field. So if we go ahead and click on it to expand it, we'll see that we can hide the name. We can edit our titles. So here, let's just say enter your full name. We also have options here to customize the font color, background, and the font style itself. And we can make the field required by toggling this switch. So our name field is good for now. Let's just move on to the email field. And by default, the email field is required. So we'll just go ahead and edit its title. Now, in most cases, collecting a name and email is sufficient. But if you want to collect more information, you can go ahead and click on this button to add a custom field. All you need to do is add a title, select the type, and configure the remaining options. And if it's a field for data that you need to collect, be sure to make it required. Now for the button, you can change the label, you can change the button color, as well as the background color. And I'll show you a quick example of this where I'll go for the same monochromatic look that we had with the original theme. All right, so here we go. And you can also change your button font and add a custom URL. All right, so we're done with fields. We'll go back and we'll move on to configuration. Okay, so here I'm going to change the slide in position to bottom left. We have an option to hide our close button. We can select a sound effect. For example, here's a pop. And we can set our cookie and success cookie durations and hide our mail opt-in branding. All right, so we'll go back and move on to the integrations tab. And here we can add a new integration. We'll select our integration from the list. I'll choose MailerLite. And I'll go ahead and select my email list from the drop-down. That's tutorials. And if you have custom fields, you can go ahead and click on this button to map them. Okay, so since we're done with integrations, we can go back. And by the way, if you want to store your leads in Mail Opt-in's lead bank, you can turn on this option to have them stored there only. Okay, now let's move on to the After Conversion tab. And this is where you can tell Mail Opt-in what to do after someone subscribes. We can use this drop-down menu to select a success action. By default, we're displaying this success message. We can also configure an autoresponder by clicking here. So all you need to do is write a message, set a subject, and turn on the autoresponder. You can also provide an email address to receive notifications every time a new lead signs up. And right below, there's an option to add a success triggered script. All right, so that's it for after conversion. We can go back and we'll move on to display rules. So here we just want to go to page targeting, and by default, we're showing our opt-in globally, which means across the entire website. But we have options below to determine exactly where the opt-in gets displayed. Now we'll go back and we'll move on to user targeting, and this is where we can determine exactly who sees our opt-in. And I'm going to select show only to users not logged in. Now we're going to go back to configure our most important option, well, at least for this tutorial, which is WooCommerce Add to Cart. We'll select Activate Rule, and if you only want specific products to trigger your opt-in, you can go ahead and select them from this drop-down menu. Alright, so since we're done with our configuration, we can go ahead and save our changes. We'll also toggle this switch to turn the opt-in on. We'll go back to our campaigns dashboard, and we'll go ahead and visit our store in a new incognito window, since we'll be logged out in this mode. Alright, so here's our store. I'm just going to go ahead and choose a product on this list and add it to the cart. Okay, so here's our pop-up, and I'm sure you heard the sound effect. I'm just going to go ahead and fill out this form quickly. I'll click on subscribe, And then we should see our success message. Here it is. Now let's go to our email marketing software to see if the information was passed on. If we go to the subscribers tab, we should see the email address that we just used in our form. And if I click on it, we'll see the details that we provided when signing up. All right, so I really hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.